Jupiter Ascending is a 2015 space opera, 5, film written and directed by the Wachowskis. Starring Channing Tatum, Mila Kunis, Sean Bean, Eddie Redmayne, and Douglas Booth. The film is centered on Jupiter Jones, Kunis, an ordinary cleaning woman, and Kane Wise, Tatum, an interplanetary warrior who informs Jones that her destiny extends beyond Earth. Supporting cast member Douglas Booth has described the film's fictional universe as a cross between The Matrix and Star Wars 6, 7, 8, while Kunis identified indulgence 9, and consumerism as its underlying themes. The film was produced by Grant Hill and the Wachowskis, making Jupiter Ascending Hill's 7th collaboration with the Wachowskis as producer or executive producer. Several more long-standing Wachowski collaborators since the creation of the Matrix films have contributed to the picture, 13, including production designer Hugh Baitup, visual effects supervisor Dan Glass, visual effects designer John Gator, standby propman Alex Boswell, supervising sound editor Dane Davis, and costume designer Kim Barrett. Other notable past collaborators include Speed Racer composer Michael Giacchino, Cloud Atlas director of photography John Toll, along with its editor Alexander Berner, and hair and makeup designer Jeremy Woodhead, who worked on both. Earth and countless other planets were established by families of transhuman and alien royalty for the purpose of harvesting the resulting organisms to produce a youth serum for the elites on other planets. After the death of the matriarch of the House of Abracerix, the most powerful of the alien dynasties, her children, Balaam, Calic and Titus, quarrel over the inheritance, with Balaam inheriting an enormous refinery on Jupiter and Titus spending his inheritance on a lavish spaceship. Jupiter Jones narrates that her father, Maximilian, met her mother Alexa in St. Petersburg, Russia. After Maximilian is killed in a robbery, Alexa names their daughter Jupiter, after his favorite planet, and they move to Chicago to live with Alexa's family. Years later, Jupiter makes a modest living as a housekeeper to her wealthy neighbors. Wanting to buy a telescope, Jupiter agrees to sell her egg cells, and uses her friend Catherine's name as a pseudonym. At Catherine's house, Jupiter and Catherine are attacked by extraterrestrial keepers. Jupiter photographs them, but they erase both of the girls' memories of the incident. Jupiter finds the strange photograph on her phone while waiting at an egg donation clinic, but cannot recall anything about it. During the procedure, the doctors and nurses are revealed to be keepers sent to kill her, but she is saved by Kane Wise, a former soldier sent by Titus to bring her to him. As Kane and Jupiter flee, their spaceship is destroyed by a squad of keepers. Kane fends off the attack, kills the keepers, and hijacks one of their vehicles while protecting Jupiter. Afterwards, Kane realizes that Jupiter must be of great significance to Titus and Balaam, who are revealed to have sent the keepers to Earth to capture her. Kane takes Jupiter to the hideout of Stinger Apini, another former soldier living in exile on Earth. When Jupiter learns that she can control the bees in Stinger's residence, she discovers that she is galactic royalty. Stinger agrees to help Jupiter, but she is captured by a group of hunters who are supposed to be working for Balaam. They have been bribed by Calic to bring Jupiter to her palace on a distant planet. There, Calic explains that Jupiter is genetically identical to the dead matriarch, and therefore is the Earth's rightful owner. Supported by Captain Diomika Ching of the Intergalactic Police Force Aegis, Kane retrieves her from Calic and takes her to the intergalactic capital planet Oz to claim her inheritance. In another attempt to lure Jupiter to him, Balaam sends Gregan to kidnap Jupiter's family. On the way back to Earth, Titus's henchmen capture Jupiter and detain Cain. As punishment for not bringing Jupiter to him as promised, Titus reveals to Cain his plan to marry Jupiter, kill her, and claim Earth. Titus then throws Cain into the void of space and attempts to seduce Jupiter, declaring his intention to dismantle the youth serum trade, of which Earth is the next intended source. Cain survives being spaced and returns with Stinger to save Jupiter at the altar before she gets married. Jupiter asks to return home, but learns that her family has been taken hostage by Balaam. At his refinery inside the Great Red Spot, Balaam demands Earth in exchange for Jupiter's family. Realizing that Balaam cannot harvest Earth without her permission, Jupiter refuses. Cain infiltrates the refinery and damages its gravity hull, causing the refinery to begin collapsing. While the occupants evacuate the refinery, Ching's ship moves in and rescues Jupiter's family. Jupiter survives the collapsing structures, only to land at the feet of Balaam, who tries to kill her. But Jupiter fights Balaam off and spares him. But not before the structures collapse and Balaam falls to his death. Just as Jupiter is about to suffer the same fate, Cain saves her as the refinery is in its final stages of collapse. Ching opens a portal to Earth and prepares to evacuate, potentially leaving Cain and Jupiter behind. However, she is relieved to find that they have survived and crossed the portal. Along with Ching's ship, Jupiter's family is returned home with no memory of their disappearance, while Jupiter secretly retains ownership of the Earth. Cain's rank in the Legion is restored, and he and Jupiter begin a relationship. Development, edit. In 2009, Warner Brothers president Jeff Robinov approached the Wachowskis about creating an original intellectual property and franchise. Development began 2 years later, with the production and visual effects teams doing pre-production work based on a first draft of the script. While the Wachowskis were shooting the future segments of Cloud Atlas 10, the story was partly inspired by Lana's favorite book, 24, The Odyssey. 25. It was making me super emotional. Lana has said, "The whole concept of these almost spiritual journeys and you're changed." Another inspiration was The Wizard of Oz, which Lana contrasts to The Odyssey. Dorothy is pretty much the same at the end as she is at the beginning. Whereas Odysseus goes through such an epic shift in his identity. The Wachowskis themselves describe the plot of the film as an effort to reverse the classical sci-fi trope of the hero who is emotionally withholding and strong and stoic. Instead, they tried to create a new form of female sci-fi hero in the space opera genre. We were like, can we bring a different kind of female character like Dorothy or Alice? Characters who negotiate conflict and complex situations with intelligence and empathy. Yes, Dorothy has a protector, Toto, who's always barking at everyone. And that was sort of the origin of Cain. Production design, edit. Producer Grant Hill and visual effects supervisor Dan Glass have noted that the Wachowskis never repeat themselves. Hill has described the design as an original take on the look of space environments, while Glass mentioned it was influenced by cities around Europe rather than science fiction touchstones. Examples include Renaissance architecture, modern glass and Gothic art. Effects, edit. Several of the film's effects rely heavily on practical stunts instead of CGI. Tatum has noted there was minimal use of digital doubles and instead most stunts were done by the principal actors or stuntmen attempting to match the previs sequences 15, 36, 37, 38, for the scenes of Tatum's character flying using anti-gravity boots. Glass has stated that his team invented a way to use stuntmen instead of doing them digitally, despite the limited available time to shoot them. 39. They created a rig of 6 cameras called the Panocam, which was mounted on a helicopter and covered nearly 180 degrees of the action. During post-production, the directors could combine the overlapped filmed footage, essentially creating a camera that could swing around the action independently of the helicopter's actual flying path. 40. The technique piqued the interest of other directors who have subsequently used it in their own movies. Visual effects vendor Framestore used Vicon T40 cameras for pre-vis and motion capture purposes, the same camera system they used in the 2013 film Gravity, which was critically acclaimed for its cinematography and visual effects. Music. The film's score was composed by Michael Giacchino, 42. On June 10, 2013, Giacchino tweeted that Ludwig Witzke, de Robert Ziegler and Tim Simonek were conducting the film's score at Abbey Road Studios in London. 43. In August, Giacchino stated, "We're actually recording all the music first, before they're even done shooting. It's been done sort of backwards, and it's much more freeing doing it that way. I'm not locked down to any specific timings and what the film is doing. I can do whatever I want. It opens up a lot more possibilities." 44. The Wachowskis first used this approach during production of Cloud Atlas at the recommendation of co-director Tom Tykwer, who has made all his movies this way, and have since commented they will never again make a movie without recording the music first. 45. Dancer Kyle Davis was inspired when listening to Giacchino's score for the film to create a ballet for the Pacific Northwest Ballet named A Dark and Lonely Space, that is choreographed to Giacchino's music. The ballet, which premiered November 2, 2018, features 24 dances that represent planets, celestial bodies, and forces of physics, and was designed as an anthropomorphization of the birth of a planetary system. 46. Release. The film was originally set to be released on July 25, 2014, 47, but it was later moved up to July 18, 2014, 48. On June 3, 2014, the film's release was delayed to February 6, 2015. Due to poor test screenings that April and to give additional time needed to complete over 2,000 special effects shots, which ended up ballooning the final budget from $130 million to over $200 million United States dollars. 4. The film received a secret screening at the 2015 Sundance Film Festival, which was invitation only and did not include members of the press. Variety's Raman Sethude reported that clusters of seats were empty at the screening. 49. The film was released in IMAX 3D, as was its competitor Seventh Son from Universal Pictures the same weekend. Jupiter Ascending had a surprise premiere at the Sundance Film Festival on January 27, 2015 at the Mary G. Steiner Egyptian Theatre in Park City. Jupiter Ascending grossed $47.4 million United States dollars in North America and $136.5 million United States dollars in other territories for a worldwide total of $183.9 million United States dollars. Against a budget of $176 United States dollars minus $200 million. 3. 4. The film was originally expected to gross between an estimated $21 minus $23 million in its opening weekend, 50, 51, 52. The film also features in the list of the riskiest box office bets of 2015, published by ScreenRant.com. 53. The film reportedly earned a gross of $1 million from Thursday preview. 54. However, the film was a box office bomb, earning an estimated $6.4 million in its opening day, and later being forecast to open at around $18 million. 55, 56. The film earned an estimated $7.6 million for its second day and an estimated $5 million on its third day. 57. For a gross of $18.4 million in its opening weekend by playing in 3,181 theaters. With a $5,776 per theater average. 3. It finished in third at the box office behind the SpongeBob movie Sponge Out of Water, $55.4 million, and American Sniper, $23.3 million, 58. Despite a disappointing North American debut, the film opened in the top spot internationally, earning $32.5 million playing in theaters of 65 markets in other territories. Among top markets were Russia, where the film earned a gross of $4.7 million and topped the box office. It also opened in markets such as France, $2.5 million, South Korea, $2.1 million, the UK, $2 million, Brazil, $1.9 million, Mexico, $1.8 million, Germany, $1.8 million, Italy, $1.2 million, and Spain, $1.1 million. The film also debuted in Asian markets, bringing in $6 million in total from Singapore, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia and Thailand. 59, 60. The film opened in China in March, $23.2 million, and the opening in China took it to the top spot in the international market for the weekend. Was highly critical of the whole film, calling it inane from first frame to last. It's miraculously unmiraculous. 65. Joe McGovern of Entertainment Weekly was also critical of the film, giving it a C, writing that it was just another incoherent sci-fi spectacle. 66. British film critic Mark Kermode said, "Jupiter Ascending is a lot of things. Bonkers. All over the place. Incoherent, preposterous, ridiculous dialogue that George Lucas would have thrown in the bin, spectacularly overripe performances. I'm not going to say it's good. But I would be lying if I said I didn't enjoy it. I had fun." 67. Redmayne, who had been nominated for, and ultimately won, an Oscar the same year for his performance as Stephen Hawking in The Theory of Everything, received particular criticism for his performance in Jupiter Ascending, the consensus being that it was over the top and unintentionally silly. Kofi Outlaw of Screen Rant called Redmayne's performance so over the top with his effeminate mannerisms and Bane-style whisper voice that Jupiter Ascending devolves into an absurd comedy whenever he's on screen, and commented that he may go home with an Oscar and a Razzie on the same night. 68. Redmayne did in fact win a Razzie Award for Worst Supporting Actor for his performance in Jupiter Ascending. 69. Manohla Dargis of the New York Times called Redmayne's performance camping. 70. while Stephanie Merry of The Washington Post lambasted him for screeching his lines in a way that is about as intimidating as a toddler, adding, "Unfortunately, you'll never be able to unhear the way he shrieks goo to his hideous minions." 71. Redmayne himself admitted that he gave a pretty bad performance by all accounts in the film during a November 2018 interview with GQ. 72. Donna Dickens of HitFix noted that the film picked up an enthusiastic following among female science fiction fans, and reported that many viewers found the film attractive for providing the wish fulfillment of prepubescent girls. 73. Dickens explained that where Hollywood typically portrays strong women in action films is Arnold Schwarzenegger with boobs, Jupiter Ascending presents Kunis' character differently. Women don't always want superhuman robots to look up to. We want to be the same klutzy nobody who is cosseted and petted and told we're special, despite all evidence to the contrary. She wrote. 73. Gavia Baker Whitelaw of the Daily Dot had a similar perspective, praising the film for avoiding sexist jokes. Baker Whitelaw described the film as catnip for a certain subset of geeky, self-aware young women, adding that it is dumb, and weird, and beautiful, and it wants you to be happy. 74. Ignacy Vishnevetsky of the AV Club described the film as an imaginatively goofy Rococo space opera, and opined, "It might not be as compelling a synthesis of pop philosophy and geek tastes as The Matrix, but it feels personal in the way that big-budget, effects-driven movies rarely do." 75. David Blaustein of ABC News wrote that the film is a campy visual sci-fi spectacle that could very well become a cult classic. 76. Polygon's Susana Polo named Jupiter Ascending number 8 on the staff's list of the top 10 films of 2015, admitting that while the movie doesn't work, it is so full of ambition that it doesn't work in such a fantastical way that it remains startlingly compelling. 77. In September 2016, Medium published an article about the 30 most polarizing movies of the 21st century with Jupiter Ascending ranking number 29. The list was created based on data from Taste.io, a user rating website for movies.